Hi, my name is Melissa Mittman. This is my final research presentation for Business Statistics 204, Section 3432. For my executive summary, I'm proposing a food delivery service for travelers in the Sydney, Australia area that will deliver food from local restaurants to Airbnb rentals. My original idea was to market towards single business travelers, but after determining that the largest concentration of rental units, which happens to be in the Bondi area of the Sydney data, averaged over 3 occupants, we're considering changing the marketing plan to service groups of travelers because we feel that the area with the largest number of rental units and also the larger occupancy allowances should be a more profitable business venture than just focusing on single business travelers. So because of my interest in the land down under, like I said before, we've decided to examine the data for Sydney, Australia to determine viable business opportunities. Based on the number of restaurants in the area, I think that a meal delivery service might be useful to people visiting the area. After going through the data sheets, we noticed that most of the Airbnb listings in the Sydney area could only accommodate one person, which indicated that most of the people were traveling for business and they may not have time to go out and get food. So a delivery service may be a good option for them. The information in the Excel spreadsheet is useful for determining the areas that have the most rentals available, which is useful to help where we're going to start the business. Also, the number of occupants is useful for coming up with our business plan and a marketing strategy. Another variable I think is important that is in the data sets is the nightly cost of each rental, because it will give us a good estimate as to the budget for our target market. Some resources that we could use to look into starting the business would be TripAdvisor. It did show that there were a lot of restaurants in the area, so that's a good sign. Other resources would be the City of Sydney government website that we can use to find business information and travel information. And then a third resource that could be good to use would be the Australian government business site. And this gives relevant information about how to actually legally start a business in Australia, along with looking into what types of licensing would be required and any other legal requirements. So from the Airbnb data, we were able to determine that the average cost per nightly rental is $184.92, with an average occupancy rating of 1.5 people per unit. The data had more than 16,000 rental listings, but the area with the most listings was the Bondi City area, including like Bondi Beach and North Bondi. There were 2,085 listings found in that area, which accounted for 12.32% of all the listings in the data set. The area with the second highest amount of rentals was the city of Manly, with only 710 rentals listed, which is only 4.2% of the listings in the data set. This information shows that we should start researching the Bondi City area first to determine the viability of the food delivery service. Here is a histogram that shows the frequency of the occupancy allowances for the whole of the Sydney, Australia data set. As you can see, it's the largest frequency is less than 2 people per unit. The inferential statistics, when we looked into the Bondi area more closely. The confidence interval estimates are important for decision makers because it shows them how reliable their sample data is compared with the population of interest. So like it says here, we went through the Bondi area, and for the data that we had, it showed that the average was 3.16 people per occupancy allowed per rental unit. And we did this with a 90% confidence level. So, and then our confidence interval estimate for the average number of guest occupancy allowances per rental is between 3.1 and 3.22 guests. So this shows that the Bondi area, most of the rentals are about 3 people instead of our target of 1 that we were looking for. And here is a box and whisker plot for the Bondi area for the rental listings. And most of the rental occupancy units were between 2 and 4, like we found on our inferential statistics page. So in conclusion, after evaluating the occupancy allowances for Airbnb rentals in the Bondi area of Sydney, Australia, we have determined that the average rental can accommodate more than 3 guests per unit. This is important to know because if we decide to move forward with the food delivery service in the Bondi area, we would need to market our service towards groups of people instead of single guests that are renting. This information can be used to either develop a different strategy in order to be profitable in the Bondi area, or we can use the information to determine if we need to find a different area to start our food delivery business that matches our original idea of marketing towards single occupancy guests. Maybe a test run in the Bondi area and another area with more single occupancy rentals could be evaluated to determine which direction would be more profitable. And here are our references. Thank you.